This program has been brought to you by Airtel, proud supporter of Africa's rising football stars.
Airtel Rising Stars, one of the greatest tournaments in Africa. Finding the best teams, the best talent, and which players are good enough to train at the Manchester United Soccer Schools camp. If you're out there, we'll find you.
Hi, and welcome to Airtel Football. They are Africa's most successful footballing nation, and here in Ghana, football is like a religion. When it comes to success on a world scale, the Black Stars have come the closest. In 2010, the world woke up to the reality that an African side could one day soon lift the World Cup, and most football fans across the globe would put the smart money on the West African nation. Bundled out in the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa by Luis Suarez and Uruguay, the game couldn't have been more of an even affair. The regular 90 minutes were marked by one long-range strike from either side. An unremarkable 30 minutes of extra time followed. For Ghana, it was the left foot of Sulley Montari just before half-time, and Uruguay's Diego Forlan just after the break. In the end, it was a missed Asamoah Gyan penalty from a Suarez handball that sent the Ghanaians packing. Ghanaian fans dejected, knowing that it was an unfair result to say the least. The goal line handball from the Uruguayans saved the day for the South American side. But it did nothing to deter the support from those who adore their Black Stars. Fast forward to the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations in Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. Ghana were favorites to win the continent's premier football tournament, but they hit a roadblock in the shape of eventual champion Zambia. Another disappointment in a tournament that they were supposed to win. But again, the Ghana football supporters were on hand to ease some of the pain. These are some of the most loyal fans in the world. Wherever their national side is playing, they follow, colorful, passionate, in love with their Black Stars.
This time, because this is 30 years now, since 1982 up to date, it's 30 years good time. We are looking for the cup many years ago because 2008 we tried fight out to third position, and 2010 we reached for final. So today is our cup. We must take it.
No, unless the bagon be bagon. That's as our say, we are now in modern world. So we are sure and we are very hopeful. We are all hoping that Ghana is going to take it this year.
Because if you see the appearance and the way they play their matches now, the friendly matches now, if you take compare now, I'm sure Ghana is going to win 2-0.
Yes, my place, Asamoah Abedi, Ayu, and Jordan.
Actually, to me, Ghana will win, and I'm expecting the keys of Abedi Pele. At least they should perform what their father did during the days.
So much so that a pack of traveling fans are always on hand, and in some cases outnumbering the hosts. They can certainly be louder than the hosts at times. Breaking into songs of worship and praise. The Ghana supporters group is a worldwide contingent of Black Star fans that take to the streets en masse. Whether it's at home or away, they become a unit of support for their national side, and their numbers are in the millions across the globe. Airtel Football caught up with some of the members of the Black Stars support group to find out what it is that makes their club and its supporters so special.
Million Supporters, is a supporters group that is part of the supporters group in Ghana. It was formed in 2009 to support all the national team. You see, this thing was created based on support. So we don't differentiate between lesser known sports or a sport that is well popular. We support all sporting disciplines.
If Ghana is playing tournament, every first match, but we find it difficult. But the second match, we keep moving up. So that's Ghana for you. Every tournament, first match, balance.
We win it already. Even the time we go for under 20, Egypt, we told Egypt journalists, most of the journalists, we are going to bring the cup in Ghana. We think we are joking. We brought the cup in Ghana. Then the time we go for Angola, we lost first match against Ivory Coast. We tell them, most of the journalists, this cup, inshallah, if we don't bring this cup, we'll be fine. We'll get final. They say, oh, we'll get final. But now we say this cup is coming in Ghana, inshallah. Ghana is not a Senegal. Ghana is a football nation. Since 1950 something, Ghana is a football nation. We take African Cup 4 times champions. You can't compare Ghana and Senegal. Then we, Ghana, our squad, when we brought in this tournament, most of them, they are partners from under 20 to Black Star.
With blogs and fan pages garnering information of when and where they'll meet up next. A library of songs that tell the story of the mightiest footballing nation in Africa. Superstition also plays a key role for some of these fans. And you don't just get to be part of the Ghana Supporters Club, you have to be the right person to represent. Some of these characters as colorful as those who have donned the Black Star strip in the past. Some even more so. With annual dues and membership, this is one group that expects only the best for its Black Stars. What ended in disappointment for the supporters at AFCON 2012 is now seen as a stepping stone for the tournament in January next year. They first won Africa's biggest prize in 1963 by beating Sudan 3-0 in the final. The Black Stars have won the Africa Cup of Nations 4 times in total. And even though their last few major tournaments have ended in disappointment in recent years, their support system, the undeniable 12th man, has always shown its support. One can only imagine the type of celebration that will occur should they be crowned champions of Africa in South Africa, or perhaps even in the world, come 2014. When we return to Airtel Football, we spend some time with Kirsten Namantandani, the South African Football Association president, and we look at the nominees for the CAF African Player of the Year. Stay where you are.
Airtel Rising Stars, one of the greatest tournaments in Africa. Finding the best teams, the best talent, and which players are good enough to train at the Manchester United Soccer Schools Camp. If you're out there, we'll find you.
Welcome back to Airtel Football. Africa's most prestigious football tournament is right around the corner, and as a result, South Africa is gearing up for another footballing success. Preparation for a football tournament on the scale of an Africa Cup of Nations, a European Championship, or a World Cup is certainly a daunting task. Every detail must be carefully considered, and as South Africa showed us in 2010, they're certainly capable of handling the challenge. So too did Gabon and Equatorial Guinea during the 2012 edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. Airtel Football went to the source to find out what goes into organizing a successful football tournament. Kirsten Nemantandani began his career as a coach for Chibuku Young Stars in 1986, following which he became the president of the Venda Football Association. Nemantandani also sat on the board of directors for the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa. He's now the president of the South African Football Association, and let's just say he knows a thing or two about putting together a successful tournament.
Look, I think one thing that has come out very, very clear is for any successful organization, you need government support. And that's exactly what we have seen within Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. The government has put a lot of money in, and of course, not only money, even human resources in as far as security is concerned, and the facilities themselves. And fortunate back home, facilities-wise, we are somewhere out there. And of course, we do need human resources in terms of security, and of course, Department of Health, and all other relevant departments will have to come to the party if we need to host a successful African Cup of Nations. Look, Gabon has set the standard, particularly when their own national team is playing. The stadium is always packed, and I have no doubt that going back home, Bafana Bafana should hold their own and manage to convince every South African to come in numbers to support wherever they'll be playing. And for South Africa in particular, I trust that at the time we'll have the best going out there, and we should have all the stadium filled up. And of course, the challenge is we have too many facilities. However, we need fewer venues compared to the World Cup. But I hope at the end of the day, we'll arrive at what we want to have.
The Africa Cup of Nations, back in South Africa for the first time since 1996, is by far Africa's most prestigious football tournament. But many European clubs find it inconsequential and oftentimes refuse to release their star players for the 3-week competition. Nemantandani has some words of advice about the pride that comes with pulling on their national colors.
Yeah, very, very interesting point you bring in, club versus country, where particularly European clubs would normally think it isn't important for these individuals to represent their country. And I think the Afro-pessimism factor need to be addressed, where they think what is in Africa is not important. This is everything for these players. It is the pride of the nation. And only if they could realize what it means to the players themselves to be out there donning your own country's jersey, it's almost everything about your life. And I think this message should be driven out there. I know it's going to take time. A club coach think about 12-month period. It's about the result. They then overlook the fact that a country's pride is also at stake. And if you want to get more players, we have to give these players a chance to represent their country. That is the only way in which those players will qualify to go out there and represent and play in Europe. If they don't have national caps, they can't do that. And maybe the other issue is to begin to synchronize these calendars. Whether we should, the year that we have the Euro taking place, should we also be having the African Cup of Nations taking place simultaneously? Obviously, that will be counter-attraction, and nobody will accept it. So these are the challenges that perhaps from the administration side, administrators must sit down and maybe have an understanding as to how best can we do that.
The hosts will have to battle it out with Angola, Cape Verde, and 1976 champions Morocco in Group A. In Group B, tournament favorites Ghana will face off against Mali, Congo, and Niger. The Airtel Rising Stars winners in the boys category will be fielding some of the young players from the Airtel Africa Championships as they look to rectify a disappointing outing in Gabon and Equatorial Guinea in 2012. Group C is certainly the group of death, with powerhouse nations Nigeria and Ethiopia, defending champions Zambia's Chipolo Polo, and 2012 host Burkina Faso. Togo, Algeria, the Ivory Coast, and Tunisia make up Group D. The action kicks off on January 19th at Soccer City in Johannesburg, as the hosts take on Cape Verde. Football in Africa certainly has a unifying appeal, bringing nations together and creating a place for Africans to play alongside one another. With that in mind, let's take a look at which African stars are making their mark across the globe, as CAF has announced its shortlist for the 2012 African Player of the Year. With last year's winner, Yaya Toure, still in contention, let's take a look at this year's list. Barcelona's Alex Song, formerly an Arsenal standout, Song scored 7 goals and 14 assists for the Gunners in the 2011-2012 EPL season. He made 204 appearances for Arsenal before moving to Barcelona this year. Midfielder Andrew Ayew found the back of the net 16 times for his French League One club Marseille. The 23-year-old also reached the semi-finals of the Africa Cup of Nations this year with the Black Stars. Zambia's national team captain Christopher Katonga was instrumental in Chipolo Polo's incredible achievement at the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations. The player of the tournament has scored 19 goals in 74 appearances for his national side, and he's the only Zambian to make the top 10. Newcastle and Senegal striker Demba Ba scored 16 goals for his club in the 2011-2012 English Premier League season, and he was voted the league's best signing. He was certainly crucial to Senegal's qualification for the Nations Cup. Didier Drogba needs no introduction. The 2006 and 2009 winner of the award scored the winning goal in the UEFA Champions League final this year, solidifying himself as one of Africa's greatest ever. Fellow Ivorian Gervinho is next. The 25-year-old had something to do with 13 of Arsenal's goals last season and is having another strong season for the Gunners. Though a recent injury has sidelined him, Gervinho is still one of the crucial members of both his national side and his club. The only Nigerian to make the shortlist is John Obi Mikel, who played a critical role in Chelsea's march to the FA Cup and European Championship glory. He played in Chelsea's 2-1 win over Liverpool at Wembley and all 120 minutes of the Blues' historic Champions League win. Gabon's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was influential for both his club and his country, helping Gabon find their way to the quarterfinals of the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations, a tournament they hosted, and he finished joint top goal scorer with 3 goals. He also managed 18 goals for his club, Saint-Etienne, last season. Last year's winner of the same awards, Yaya Toure, was instrumental in Manchester City's run to the EPL silverware last season after a 44-year drought. Toure also played a big part in his country's march to the AFCON final this year. And Morocco's young star Younes Belhanda won the League One championship in Montpellier and was voted the best young player, though he was unable to have the same effect for his national side, the Atlas Lions, at this year's Africa Cup of Nations. The award will be announced at a ceremony on the 20th of December in Ghana's capital, Accra. That's all the time we have for this edition of Airtel Football. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
This program has been brought to you by Airtel, proud supporter of Africa's rising football stars.